We are back from spring break, and boy, what weather did we get? It's kind of crazy out there. Anyway, it's nice to have the snow, I guess, later for moisture, but after having 60-degree weather, it's hard to enjoy it very much. Anyway, in our class this week on digital learning tools and resources, we're learning about Voice over Internet Protocol and web conferencing. Voice over Internet Protocol is the technology behind the types of applications that allow us to speak to other people through the internet rather than through a phone or a cell phone signal. And these can be very handy. There are some voice over internet phones even that you can get for free, like the Google Voice. You can get a phone number on Google Voice and call over your computer for free, which is quite nice. So that allows that. The Voice over Internet Protocol technology allows that type of communication. And web conferencing, of course, is having conferences on the web or getting on the web and being able to talk live to one another in multiple different ways. So that's web conferencing and Voice over Internet Protocol. As you know, probably, these are synchronous technologies, meaning that all participants in the communication process will have to be on at the same time in order for them to be able to communicate. So anyway, this week is kind of simple. We have textbook chapters 9 and 14 for readings, and then there are presentations on different web conferencing and voice over internet protocol tools, including Skype, TinyChat, and Adobe Connect. But I did want you to look forward. So that's pretty simple watching those, but there is in the next week a podcast episode due. So that's something to be looking forward to as well as we learn about these things. You are to create a 6 to 10 minute podcast recording using Sound Recorder or Audacity that presents about a current technology tool that could be used in K-12 or higher education. Now, in addition to that, you're also going to give examples of how that tool that you have chosen could be used within each stage of the SAMR model. Remember that model from earlier this semester? There's substitution, augmentation, modification, redefinition. So you are going to choose a tool, and then you're going to talk about how that tool, could be used in different levels of that model in each of those levels. So in the podcast, introduce your chosen tool, discuss its main features, introduce the SAMR model, then provide a real-world example of how the tool could be used for each level of the SAMR model. And of course, use your radio announcer voice, a good voice, to make that tool interesting or different, and then record that. Now, I will allow you to do a screencast as well if you'd like to. It might be good when you're sharing about a tool to add that visual element of a screencast using something like Screencast-O-Matic like I'm using right now. So that's a possibility as well, but if you want to, it could just be a podcast episode where there's just the audio part of it. All right, so that's what it looks for, and then, or that's what the assignment's about, and this is what I will look for. Is it the appropriate length? Does it use professional voice, high quality audio? So again, for those of you who don't have a lot, maybe you can use headset with a microphone, or just headphones, maybe with a built-in microphone. That's usually a little bit better than trying to use your laptop microphone that's built in. The podcast introduces the tool adequately, effectively introduces the SAMR model, discusses the 4 different levels of the SAMR model and how the tool works on each one of those. So there's a separate line for each of those as it goes through. So that's the podcast episode activity or assignment due next week. But for this week, it's not too much. It's just gearing up for this kind of activity as you finish out. So that's about it for this week. Have a great week and good luck to you.